In this tutorial, I'll show you exactly how to recreate this animation from start to finish. This is episode 1 of our 30-part series on mastering SaaS animation. We'll begin with beginner-friendly projects and gradually work our way up to advanced 3D product animations used by leading startups and agencies. Throughout the series, we'll recreate some of the best SaaS animations from real client projects we've worked on, as well as standout animations from across the industry, all for educational purposes. By the end of this series, you should have a portfolio of high-quality animations you can show to potential clients and secure gigs that pay up to $2,000. If you're serious about becoming exceptionally good at SaaS animation, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and let's get started. We'll start by launching After Effects. Create a new composition using these settings and name it. Save your project. Create a new solid and name it. This will be our background. To create the background, go to the Effects and Presets panel and search for 4-color gradient. I use this free add-on by Video Copilot called FX Console. I highly recommend it as it makes you search for effects faster. As a video editor and animator, you should try to save as much time as possible. Change the color and location of the gradient like this. Then drag the last one to the middle, like this. Use this color code to get the same results, or you can use any color of your choice. Create the text next. We are using the SF Pro font from Apple. You can download it online. This is the same official font Apple uses in its own animations. Then scale and adjust it like this. Select the text and double-click on the anchor point icon to place the anchor point in the middle of the text. I will change the font to SF Pro Display Bold. We will use our personal library of professional SaaS animation text presets we use to save time in our client work. Since this project will be part of your professional portfolio to attract clients, we highly recommend it. I want everybody to follow along with these trainings, so we are giving you a 90% discount so you can get it today for just $1. The link is in the description. Select the text layer. Press U on your keyboard to bring out the keyframes. You can adjust the keyframes to make the animation faster or slower. I'll drag it closer to make it faster. To make this shine-through effect on the text, add a CC light sweep to the text layer. Choose a golden yellow color to give the golden swipe effect. Increase the width and the sweep intensity so the shine effect is more visible on the text layer. We can now see that the effect is visible on the layer. Adjust the settings and animate the center like this. Adjust the keyframes so it swipes through immediately after the text appears. I'll easy ease the keyframe and drag it to the left for a smooth speed animation. Let's preview it to see how it looks. I'll extend the keyframe a bit to make it slightly slower so it looks more cinematic. Let's preview it one more time to see how it looks. That's perfect. Place the playhead exactly where the swipe animation ends. This will be the starting point of the new text. Duplicate the text layer and edit it to get the next text animation. Cut the first layer immediately after the swipe animation using Alt plus right bracket. Then move the second layer to the playhead using the left square bracket. We can now edit the text to the new one and position it in the middle of the composition. We are done with the first two texts. To create the client ID box, we will create a new composition with these settings. Select a rounded rectangle shape and draw it out like this. Draw it so it's close to the edges but doesn't touch. And make sure it's in the middle of the composition. You can always adjust the roundness of the shape. Select a linear gradient fill for the shape. Go to the color panel under the shape layer and adjust the colors like this. Choose any two colors for the shape. I will choose a white and slightly gray color. Adjust the gradient color position. Rename the layer to keep everything clean and organized. Draw another shape for the client memoji background. Then adjust the gradient color as well. Go to the color panel under the new shape layer and add a keyframe to it. This will make it easier to make changes to the color by pressing U to show the keyframe. Adjust the color like this. We can change the gradient colors to any color of our choice. I have provided a folder of memojis from the internet for you to follow along. Kindly find them among the free resources in the link below. Add them to the project panel. Create a folder for the memojis in the project panel and name it so that it stays organized. Drag the first one into the scene and adjust its position and scale like this. We can now create a text, so this can be the name of the client. I have also provided a list of random names for this project. You can also use any names you like. Adjust the scale and position of the text. Create a folder for all the client IDs to keep everything organized and duplicate it in 8 places like this. Double-click to open all the new compositions so we can change the information inside them. Select the picture background layer and press U to bring out the color keyframe. Make sure you're on the first frame, then adjust the gradient color to any color you like. Select the memoji image and choose the new image you want to use. Hold down the Alt key and drag the new image on top of the old one to replace it in the composition. Change the name. We will do the same thing in the third composition. Change the gradient color, replace the image, and change the text. I will go ahead and speed up the rest so the video won't become long and boring.
A few moments later.
Now that we have all our 8 compositions, we'll go back to the main composition. Press Ctrl K to bring up the composition setting so we can extend the time. Position the playhead to exactly when the second text begins to enter the scene like this. Select all the client ID compositions and drag them to the main animation composition. Press the left square bracket to bring all the layers to the position of the playhead like this. Adjust the scale and position each one randomly around the text like this. I'll select all the ID compositions and adjust the scale slightly. Go ahead and arrange them randomly around the text. I made 8 instead of 9 client ID profiles, so I'll quickly create one more. The process is exactly the same like the last one. Scale and position it in the composition. Animate the scale effect in any client ID layer. I'll be choosing the first one. Press S on your keyboard to bring out the scale property, add a keyframe and move it forward, then reduce the scale to 0. This will make the object pop into the scene. I'll be using this free plugin for that bounce effect that looks really good, instead of using expressions that can be clumsy and confusing for most people. I'll link it in the description box so you can get it too. Just select the 2 keyframes and select the animation type from the list in the plugin and click Bounce It. And that's it. We now have this realistic bouncy scale animation. Copy the animation keyframes from the first layer and paste it on all the remaining layers. Select the keyframes on each layer and apply the bounce effect to them. If you're getting value from this video, kindly hit that like and subscribe buttons. It helps us to create more high-quality free videos for you. Thank you. As you can see, it's already beginning to look good. We'll stagger the keyframes so we can randomize the pop-in animation like this. Press Ctrl-Shift front arrow button to move 10 frames ahead. Nice, this scene is looking good. There are paid plugins that make things like this easier, but I'll talk about them in later videos. Extend the background layer to the end of the composition. Let's preview it one more time to see how it looks. Next, we'll create the folder animation that pops up in the middle of the composition. Create a new composition using these same dimensions. Draw a new rounded edges layer. Adjust the anchor point so it's in the middle of the shape and align the shape to be in the middle of the composition. Add a keyframe on the color property so we can change it easily. Press U to bring out the keyframes and change the colors like this. These are the color codes I'm using. If you mistakenly filled the wrong colors, you can easily swap them like this. Adjust the gradient handles to look like this. Next, we want to add a transparent white stroke to the rectangle. Right-click on the shape layer, go to the layer styles and select stroke. Change the stroke size, color and opacity. We will add the text, image and background next. Create another shape like this. Adjust the roundness of the shape and add a keyframe to the color so we can change the gradient color easily. Adjust the gradient and add the profile image memoji. Next, we'll add a text. Copy any name you like to it, change the color to white, and position it properly. Always remember that you can automatically place the anchor point to the center of any object by selecting the object and double-clicking on the anchor point icon. That's a tip that helps me save some time. We can now place the text and the profile image in the middle of the shape. Rename the composition to keep it neat and organized. Drag the client box composition to the main composition. Adjust the scale and position like this. We can use a scale of 68% for this layer. Position your playhead to be immediately after the last client ID pops up. Press the left square bracket to move the start of the layer to the position of the playhead like this. Animate the position and add a bounce effect. The first keyframe will be used to place the object outside the scene, then the second would be when it comes into the scene. If the animation is too fast, you can move the second keyframe farther so there'd be enough time for the animation. Note, however, that the bounce effect works better when the keyframes are not too far apart. Animate the opacity property of the text like this, so it disappears immediately the box comes into the scene. The shortcut for opacity property is letter T on your keyboard. Next, we'll animate the two client ID compositions to look like they were moved away by the client box coming from under. We'll adjust the keyframes to match the coming in of the box like this, then add the bounce effect to them as well. To get the perfect effect, we have to keep moving the keyframes so they match the animation of the box to maintain a good level of realism in the animation. Let's preview it to see how it looks. Let's move some of the ID compositions to balance out the scene like this. Professional animations always have breathing space. That's what keeps the animation from being clumsy and overcrowded. We will also add the bounce effect to the ID layer keyframes so it matches the animation of the box coming into the scene. Now this is looking very professional. If you've made it this far, congratulations. Your first portfolio animation is almost ready. We will animate each client ID layer going into the box randomly, like this. Place the playhead to when the box enters into the scene and settles. Randomly select each client ID layer and animate it moving into the box. Remember to place the box composition at the very top. Press Ctrl-Shift front arrow key button to place the keyframes exactly 10 frames apart. Select all the keyframes. Press F9 to easy ease them. Go to the graph area and edit the speed graph. Click and drag across all your keyframes to select them. And drag the handles slightly to the left like this. Cool. Now, let's take a look at the animation we have created together. Like I said earlier, if the animation is too fast, we can always drag out the keyframes to make sure the pacing is as accurate and realistic as possible. In our client work, we always come back after the animation is complete to play with the keyframes until we are satisfied with the output. That simple step always leaves us with buttery smooth animations that clients like. To add more dynamism to our animation, we will add a secondary animation. This makes it look like each client ID that enters the box or folder moves it in the direction of its movement like this. Small details like this are what makes you an amazing animator. Add a null and place it in the center of the box, then parent the box to it. This null will control the animation of the box. So we will animate the position and rotation of the null to match the direction of the movement of the object entering the box. I'll do the first and second ones so you can get the picture. We will then repeat the same thing for the rest. Remember to add a bounce animation to the keyframes to get that super cool bounce effect. We'll do the same thing for the second one. We'll add a keyframe to the original position and rotation of the null. Then we'll move 20 frames ahead and change it to the direction of the object coming in. Then move 20 frames ahead again and copy and paste the initial position and rotation keyframes to return it to its original position. Then add the bounce effect. I'll go ahead and repeat the steps for the other ones, and we'll have the same results. Perfect. Now let's have a look at the animation. Our final animation is the morphing logo reveal animation. To achieve this, we will create an exact replica of the client data box composition. However, for this animation to work, we'll have to separate each layer so we can work with them separately. Draw a rounded rectangle shape on the duplicate composition like this. We want it to be the same size and roundness of the shape with the stroke. So I will change the color and make sure that the edges have the same roundness like this. Hide the stroke so we can only see the two shapes. Once this is done, I will set the color to white and match the opacity with the opacity of the stroke. Copy all the layers and paste them in the main composition. Make sure you drag all the layers to the top of the layers stack. Add a null layer and position it to the middle of the new elements we just pasted. Parent the layers to the null, so the null can control the properties of all the new layers at the same time. Align the null to the center of the composition. Adjust the scale and position of the null until the new layers perfectly match the scale and position of the existing client data box composition. At the end of the animation, after all the IDs have entered the box, parent the null of new box to the existing null so that the two boxes will have the same animation. Select the main null we added the secondary animation to and press U to bring out the keyframes under it. Then move all the layers for the new client box we pasted and place them on the playhead. Remember our hotkeys. Left square bracket to place the layers on the playhead. Select the client data box composition and cut it at the playhead using Alt-right square bracket. Set the playhead on the last keyframe of the main null. Then add a new position keyframe to the new null. These new keyframes will be used to move the new layers upwards. Select all the client ID layers and cut them using the Alt and right square bracket hotkey so they disappear. As usual, we will add the bounce animation to the keyframes. Everything is now set for us to do the morphing animation. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in our free Telegram group, and we'll attend to them. We'll start by transitioning the base layer from black to white. To do this, we will open the color property, then add a keyframe when the color of the shape layer is white, move it, and change the color to black, like this. We'll also keyframe the opacity so it moves from 65% we set it earlier to 100% once the color changes. Cool, everything is working perfectly. Next, we'll animate the size and position of the orange layer. Remember not to use the scale property, because the scale property can distort the rounded edges. Use the size property instead. We'll make sure that the keyframes are in the same position as the opacity and color keyframes, so the animation can all happen at the same time. As always, we can extend the keyframes if the animation is too fast. Animate the photo, text and image BG layers so they come downwards as the smaller box moves upwards. We will then track matte them so they are hidden inside the orange box. When you track matte an object to a layer, the layer is automatically hidden. Go ahead and click on the eye icon to make it visible again. Let's preview the entire animation to see what we have created so far. Cool. Place your playhead at exactly this spot then. Add the logo text and icon and position them. We'll make sure that the logo and text are perfectly positioned in the middle of the black solid so it looks clean and organized. Select the text and logo layers and press P to bring out the position property. Animate them to come down as the orange box goes up. We'll drag the keyframes closer so they are 10 frames apart. Drag the two layers below the orange layer. Add the bounce effect to the animation keyframes like this. Add the last text and use the settings we used to position it in the right place. You can change the font weight to make it look interesting. Add our animation preset to the text to get this result. Preview the animation and tweak the keyframes until you get the perfect animation that looks like this. Thanks for watching. In the next episode, we'll be creating this. If you have any questions, you can ask them in our free Telegram group. Also, all resources are available for free in our Telegram channel. Thank you for subscribing, and see you in the next one.